Hey, everybody. I'm Andy Ostroy, and welcome to the back room.
I'm speaking from the roof of Broadcasting Building. New York City. The bells you hear are ringing to warn the people to evacuate the city as Martians approach. Estimated in the last 2 hours, 3 million people have moved out along the roads to the north. Hutchinson River Parkway still kept open for motor traffic. Avoid bridges to Long Island, hopelessly jammed. All communication with Jersey Shore closed 10 minutes ago. No more defenses. Our army is wiped out. Artillery, Air Force, everything wiped out. This may be the last broadcast. We'll stay here to the end.
We're just getting another news flash in. The spaceship has been spotted driving up the Taconic. Wait, what's that? We have another boot in the news flash. It has taken a turn off of Bull's Head Road. It is heading to Rhinebeck, New York. Wait, we're just getting another update. It is now seen in Rhinecliff. Rhinecliff, of course, a little hamlet outside of Rhinebeck. Wait. It has now pulled up in front of the Epicurean, a little food stuff shop in Rhinecliff. Oh, no, Maddie, Jen, no. Ow. That, of course, was a clip from Orson Welles' famous, awesome, amazing War of the Worlds radio show. That was October 30th, 1938, where he literally scared the bejesus out of everyone in America with this fake Martian invasion. But I got to say, what the hell is going on? Yesterday, a fourth spaceship, cylindrical, whatever the hell they're calling these things, shot down. Fourth. It's like the third in 3 days. I don't know. I mean, I feel like are we being invaded? I know there's people out there who are going to be like, Astro, you're an idiot. Spaceship invasion. Like, it's never going to happen. But I got to say, I think it was November 8th, 2016, when I saw Donald Trump standing on that stage with his mutant offspring, accepting his victory to become president of the United States. I think it's probably the last time in my life I would ever say never. So, I don't know. What do you think's going on? Maddie, you're the resident science nerd in this room.
Well, apparently the Pentagon has actually calibrated their radars to look at things that go from 0 to 100 miles an hour. And this is picking up a lot of things we never looked at before.
Jen, are you worried? Are you up at night thinking we're going to be invaded by Martians?
I'm up at night for not for
that. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, you don't want to dip in that Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of conspiratorial cesspool. But what's going on? What's going on? Why? I'm 63 years old, okay? 63 years old. And one of the beautiful things about being 63 is that not only do you have the pleasure of the bladder control of a 2-year-old and rapid outbreak in liver spots, but you also have wisdom. Wisdom and perspective. And I don't know. I've never seen this shit happen before. It's like those, what do they call those snow things that we get now? Like the bomb, where like...
the polar vortex.
No. It's like all of a sudden, like snow just comes out of the sky at like 1,000 miles an hour. And we never heard of this before. Like, where did this come from?
But maybe all these things were always here. We just didn't know about it.
But that's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
All these UFO sightings. Oh my God, people just UFOs. There's no such thing. Like, well, okay, well now they're fucking invading. Okay.
And
we're worried about Republicans but I gotta be honest with you. Actually, when Trump became president, I found that more bizarre and dangerous than the concept of being invaded by space aliens.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, that's one of our two big things this week. The second is the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys watched the game. The Chiefs won 38-35.
Ooh, exciting.
I was terribly disappointed. I don't ever watch the game, but I do watch the Kitten Bowl, and Hallmark canceled the Kitten Bowl this year. So that was we always watch it, and it wasn't on. That was a disappointment. The only other thing which I would note is that Elon Musk was with Rupert Murdoch in a special booth watching the game, and that's a repulsive pair.
Yeah, what a shocker.
But Rihanna, wow. I did watch the halftime show, and her pregnant doing those moves was just exhilarating. And because I recall when I was pregnant, I was black and blue everywhere because I couldn't, like figure out where my body was in space by doors. And that was just, I think she knocked it out of the park. Amazing, amazing halftime show.
Yeah, I think for me, I gotta say, I wasn't terribly excited by the Rihanna performance. I found it a little, I don't know, dull.
Oh, I liked it.
I think it's, to me, when this is Super Bowl halftime show, the bigger, and I don't mean like a million dancers. I just mean like the performer. When we've had like the Rolling Stones and, or even like if there's like a Prince or
malfunction.
What's that?
Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. Like, I don't know, just like your average pop star doesn't quite do it for me. You know what I mean?
I don't think she was The Weeknd. I think she's at a higher level than last year's.
I don't know. I'm old school. I'd like to see, just like, Michael Jackson or the Stones or Bon Jovi or Prince or somebody like that. Like just big arena type of, like I wouldn't go see Rihanna at Giant Stadium, 50, 60,000 seat arena. Like it just doesn't feel appropriate in that kind of arena. But like a big band or, I don't know, whatever. I know I'm not in a popular camp there, but so a few interesting takeaways. The call, as they're calling it. A minute and 54 seconds left. There was this pass to Juju Smith-Schuster, great name, Juju, or Juju-ish Smith-Schuster. Eagles cornerback James Bradbury grabs his jersey, so of course the ref says holding, and then the pass was incomplete. Chiefs got a first down, ran down the clock, and then the Chiefs field goal kicker Harrison Butker kicked the game-winning field goal. There was no time left on the clock, and that was it. So that call basically was like, all right, you win the Super Bowl. And now everybody's like, should you make a call like that at the end of the game? Well, but what happens if you don't? Right? What if you don't? You're basically saying to a player, you can do whatever you want at the end of a game, even if it impacts the end of the game. Rules are rules, man. They should be obeyed at any point in any game, in any season. It's like the law, right? Can't make exceptions. And even Bradbury, he was like, I was holding. I tugged on the jersey. They called it. I was hoping they wouldn't let it ride. So even the player said I did it. So I don't know what the controversy is. Two youngest quarterbacks in history when you combine their ages. Mahomes, amazing, epic, transcendent. Played with a high ankle sprain. He got the MVP, 26-yard run, and an epic second half. It's great. I mean, he was a real champion in that game. Went in the locker room during halftime. They all got together and did whatever they had to do, and they came out and they just kicked ass. Still got to throw props to Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback. He achieved some records last night. Most yards rushing by a quarterback ever in a Super Bowl. 3 rushing touchdowns, 300 passing yards, a combination of 300 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, and 3 touchdown runs in any game, regular season or playoff. That's pretty amazing. And he's 24. Unbelievable. Speaking of 24, we have 24-year-old Matt Friend, comic and impressionist, coming up on this show shortly. We talked about Rihanna. I don't know. I mean, the dancers, it was like 500 dancers. Like what?
It was so choreographed. It was choreographed so beautifully. That takes, that's skill.
I mean, I give her props for being pregnant and doing that. I do like her. I listen to her music, but my only point is that just filling an arena like that during the biggest game of the year of any sport, like
I don't even really like her, and I was so impressed.
Okay, all right. And the ads. How about the ads? What was your favorite ad?
I didn't watch the game. I only watched the halftime show.
I have to watch the ads. I haven't done it yet.
My favorite, when you watch it, was there was a Breaking Bad ad for popcorners with Mr. White and, oh my God, Jesse. And it was awesome. My second favorite, close, almost a tie, was the T-Mobile ad with Bradley Cooper and his mom. Unbelievably funny. And then honorable mention to the Steve Martin, Ben Stiller Pepsi ads, and your Sam Adams, your cousin from Boston ad. So check those out. All right, let's get to Matt Friend. He is one of the hottest, if not the hottest, comedian and impressionist in the country right now. He's super funny, incredibly talented, and he's truly ridiculously popular. You can see him headlining and performing in clubs all over America. He's doing gigs at award shows. He's with Howard Stern and Ari Melber on MSNBC. He's just blowing up. Matt, welcome to the back room again.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back with you, Andy.
So I was telling you before when you said something that you sounded like Howard Stern. I wanted to know, like, you know how people are criticizing Austin Butler for sounding like Elvis now all the time? Are you getting that? Like people saying, hey, just you sound like Howard Stern now all the time. Anyone ever tell you that?
Right. Well, when I wake up in the morning, what I do is, right, I just say, Robin, where's my toothpaste? I'm trying to brush my teeth. This is fucking crazy. Okay. Right. When I go on dates, I say, what do you want to have to drink? I'm fucking tired. Okay, let's do this. So the answer to that is, I'm not intentionally trying to sound like Howard. There's definitely like a bass in my voice that exists.
Yes.
But thank you. I'm flattered because I love Howard's voice.
Now, are you going to be growing your hair out? You can do like the I
exactly.
Say this, I'm a Jew, so I can say this. You're going to get like a Jew fro thing going on, or
not only would I like to have that, I'd like to also have his salary too. That would be nice.
His celery?
His salary, the Howard Stern Sirius XM salary. Yeah,
I thought you were referring to the little known fact that Howard Stern makes amazing salads, but okay.
Is that right?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, okay.
So, Super Bowl, right? When you watch the Super Bowl, are you like just thinking, all right, I got to work on a Rihanna? Like, do you just go to the impression part of it?
I was thinking of Mahomes, and I was doing a little Mahomes, like, thank you so much. I gotta say, Chiefs, Kansas City, I sound like Kermit. Why there's so many songs about rainbows? Like, to me, he sounds like Kermit the Frog.
There's a little Howard Stern, Alan Alda morphing thing going on there.
Little bit, yeah. But no, I don't. I do. Yeah, I do. I do think about the impressions all the time as it relates to the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
You know who might be a funnier one than Mahomes is Travis Kelce.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I got to work on that one. I mean, they're having their moment right now. So
they are. Kelce is just like, yeah, baby. Like all he screams is baby. Like you could just do an impression of him and say baby, and it'll be funny as hell.
Do you care who won?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm a Bears fan, so I didn't really give
a I'm a Jets fan, and obviously this means years of therapy.
Good for us. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was an exciting game, yeah, it was. But I didn't have a dog in that race, as they say.
Yeah, neither did I.
I actually was rooting. I got to say, I was kind of rooting. I mean, I have friends who are big Chiefs fans, but I was kind of rooting for the Eagles.
You were rooting for the Republican Jesus commercial. I think that's what you were rooting for, right?
Yeah, no, I was disappointed with the Jesus commercial because I think it could have been so much better. I think he could have gone out on a limb and said things just a little bit more provocative. I mean, he's Jesus, right?
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Can you do Jesus?
Oddly enough, and people don't know this, but Jesus and George Santos have the exact same voice because George Santos is Jesus. So if I can do George Santos, I can do
other
Jesus.
people.
Yeah, so I have to work on that one.
So how do you do Jesus? You go online and like look at all his old YouTube videos and stuff. Like how do you master the voice?
That one would be tricky. It's like asking, how do I do George Washington? There's no audio there.
How do you do George Washington?
I guess I'd have to do some Daniel Day-Lewis approach and just make something up.
We're kidding around, but this is really an interesting concept for an impressionist to do impressions of people that no one has ever heard before.
Yeah. Now I do that often where I'll pick out someone in the new, like no one's doing Hakeem Jeffries. I was telling you about that before we got democracy over demagogues, maturity over Mar-a-Lago. Okay. So I'm picking these, no one's doing Governor Ron DeSantis either. I'm ahead of the curve there. Okay. So we all know that he's in the back of the throat. Floridians know it's a very disgusting thing to do. Liberals indoctrinating our kids, telling them to mutilate our body parts. It's disgusting. So to answer your question, I'm ahead of the curve. Just the same way that DeSantis thought Florida was also ahead of the curve during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. So one last thing on the Super Bowl. So when I was watching it, thinking of Rihanna, and I think last time you were on, I asked you about doing women. So I thought, like, is there going to be like a Beyonce or a J-Lo or a Shakira or a Billie Eilish or a Taylor Swift in your future? Like, are you working on any of those?
In terms of who I'll be dating, or in terms of who I'll be, because the way you phrased the question.
That's exactly what I was referring to. We're not here to talk about impressions. We're here to talk about your sex life.
Never say never. It could happen.
Okay, so let's break that down. Of those, who would you want to date the most?
Who are the options again?
Harry Styles, P. Diddy. No, it was Rihanna, Beyonce, J-Lo, Shakira, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift.
Well, for Shakira, I'd want to make sure my wife doesn't avoid taxes, so I might have to skip that one. And then I don't know, Bill. I mean, Beyonce would be pretty hard to pass up, I feel like, and then I don't know, Billy's close to my age.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have to. There's a lot of thinking to do. I mean, these are all extraordinary women, right? I mean, they are very worthy of the Trump Miss America pageant. So a lot of different potential options. And Andy, when you're a star, they let you do it. So I can do anything I want. Thank you very much.
I gotta say, I don't know if Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish or any of those people would let you do it.
Well, that's true. Thank you very much.
Not those ladies, thankfully.
Excuse me, Andy. When you're the president, they let you do anything.
So let's talk about talk a little bit about process. Okay,
Uh-huh.
Are you still 24? Or have you hit 25 yet?
24, yeah.
Jesus, I literally have shoes older than you. I swear to God, and I literally think I'm old enough to be your great grandfather. But that's a whole.
How old are you?
63.
Yeah, you could be my great grandfather. Yeah,
maybe grandfather, but not.
You could be my grandfather. Yeah. Not really. I mean, you'd be a young grandfather. It'd be like a teen actor grandfather. But you could.
Or I could be your great grandfather if we both kind of grew up in
more like my dad. Yeah.
Are you at a stage in your life and your career where you literally this is all you do? Like, are you just 24/7 on your career, your impressions, watching the news? Is there any time for, like, do you go hiking? Do you date? Do you watch Breaking Bad? Like, is there room for anything? Because I sort of feel like this is all, like, you are obsessed.
I am extremely obsessed. And I think I'm pretty, like, comedy is kind of a relentless thing, like, to do stand up, to get back on stage night after night. I'm definitely very obsessed with it, and it's not not my top priority. I mean, I'm very committed to making all these. I have very huge goals and ambitions, and if you're not willing to put in the necessary work and commitment, then it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm lucky to have an amazing family and close friends, and I like to have a good time. Go out in New York in my 20s on the weekends. But I mean, I'm working. Usually. I mean, like, I'll be doing shows and then I'll go out. On like a weekend, but I have to do the shows.
And you hitting up all the alcohol-free bars and stuff like that. And
yeah, we're playing Jenga after I get out of after I finish my show. My favorite activity is to just play some Monopoly and have a couple cans of Sprite
or box juice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's not like unhealthy what I'm doing. I think it's all I love doing it. And
well, I'm not
crazy.
saying I didn't want you to, in any way to think that I was suggesting it.
No.
In fact, I was going to say that where you are in your career right now, I mean, you're blowing up. We spoke you were on here in October. I think in the last 4 months, you've blown up like a Chinese balloon.
Well, I'll tell you what, the balloon got deflated faster and harder than all of the footballs Tom Brady popped. Okay, but anyways. Speaking of football, but
no, it's actually, it's so wild being back on here with you, because since October, of last year, like November, it's been some crazy momentum. It's been wild recently.
Yeah, and that's because of, I think, the work.
I think because of you.
Well, I was going to say that, and I will say
because
that.
of being on your show.
You owe everything to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, I think it's because of the work you're putting in, and obsession. Some people might say, okay, that's like a pejorative kind of word, but no, it's like the Freakonomics
No,
thing.
it's real. Yeah.
If you put in the time and the effort and you're disciplined, and I think
You have to be.
that's why this is happening.
Yeah.
I saw your Lake Huron, Huron. How do you pronounce that? You're from the Midwest.
Lake Huron.
Huron.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the UFO thing, those are pretty quick turnaround. How do
Yes.
you? And then you're up on your roof. Like, is that your main studio? The roof?
I like going up on the roof. Somehow I feel like videos perform better for me when I'm outside.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
I'll give you that.
Maybe
I
like
think
the
you're right.
lighting and
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's also kind of funny, like Trump yelling on a roof.
And how?
Like when the Chinese balloon thing happened, I within seconds I was like,
The balloon was shot down like a dog. Rosie O'Donnell was the only thing larger than the balloon. And I'll tell you what, Xi Jinping is a nasty guy. China's killing us. Okay, I actually invented the balloon. Happy birthday to China. Happy birthday to China. So I was serenading China.
I like being very on top of what's happening in the news.
And you put that video out pretty quickly. Like you just
Very quickly,
when you
yeah.
see this on CNN or whatever, you just like turn off the
Listen,
TV, sit down, and start writing.
If it's a Saturday and I'm at some pregame and we're day drinking and I see some alert that says Trump said donkeys are evil and must be banned from the United States, you can bet your ass, Andy, I'd put that shot glass down and race up to the roof and film a 30-second TikTok.
How long does it take you to write the copy, write the bit?
I mean, I have to be reading the article. Like sometimes when it's really fast, I'll have to be reading the article, gather my thoughts, jot down a couple of things in my notes app, and then memorize it pretty quickly.
Because it seems like, I mean, you totally have the Trump thing down. Like you probably walk around the house talking the voice, like, but. So I would imagine, like at this stage and where you're at, like it's just all about sitting down and writing the bit, not working on the voice, right? The voice is just innate now.
Well, for that specific impression, I don't really need to work on the voice anymore. But for other ones, I'm constantly working on new ones.
So I mean, do you ever have a moment where you just stop and close your eyes and think of the momentum you have? I mean, I've seen your videos like after you're on Howard Stern and you're like a kid in a candy shop, you can't believe what is happening. Like, do you have a lot of moments like that where you're just like, damn, this thing is amazing? Because it is.
It's very strange. Like a lot of the things that are happening in my career right now, like pinch me. Like I was at the Golden Globes a couple weeks ago on the red carpet, doing like comedy content. And just as an example of that was just surreal. Like all these, it just, at the same time, like I think you do have to step back and realize how amazing all this stuff is. And then at the same time, I was actually talking about this with my parents last night. It almost feels like okay, like I'm putting in the work and these are things that should be happening. Like, I'm not like arrogant, but it's like these are goals and things I've been working towards and I'm prepared for the moment. But at the same time, it's absolutely wild what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, and speaking of family, I mean, your parents are they totally quelling?
Yeah, no, they are. They were at my show, actually, that you were at. And they are. Everybody, the grandparents are. I was talking to them the other day, too. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's crazy what's happening. When you look at I got to stop doing the Trump. It's just crazy what's going on. It's unbelievable. But I don't really think about it. I mean, like, I do appreciate a lot, like all these different events that continue happening like week after week, almost like daily now. But I'm focused and there's a lot more I want to do.
I mean, I know I've seen you like at award shows recently. Like, what are some of the highlights in the last 3, 4, or 5 months that you can't, like, that have just been so amazing and you can't believe you've been involved in?
Well, actually, in about 2 hours, I think I can say it, so it's fine. But you can keep it in. But in about 2 hours, I'm actually recording some of my first voices for Family Guy. So that's pretty wild. So I'm going to a recording studio. I'm wearing my Stewie Griffin sweatshirt that they gave me.
Sweet. Congrats. That's cool.
Thank you. So that's pretty, and I just did another voice for The Simpsons as well. So now like being on both of those shows is just very, very, very strange. Oh yes, it's absolutely crazy. Because all those voices were in my head ever since I was a little boy. Stewie Griffin, very, very, Andy Ostroy's podcast is fantastic. Is it Ostroy or Ostroy? Nobody knows. But anyways, yeah, but that was wild. That is going to be wild. Golden Globes, the Stern stuff, being on, going back on MSNBC in a couple of weeks. So doing like those TV appearances, and then the stand-up is building. I just got back, headlined at a comedy club all weekend in Massachusetts, and then I'm going to announcing more dates, going to Philly and DC, doing the Kennedy Center in March.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff coming up. It's crazy.
And so let's
This should be called the Matt Friend Bragging Podcast.
Well, you should be bragging. I mean, this is no bullshit. I don't bullshit people, but I told you I did stand up back in the day, and I'm like an aspiring impressionist, but I suck at it for the most part. But I've been around long enough. As I said before, I'm 94 years old, and I've seen a lot of impressionists. And to me, you're the best there's ever been. I mean, name me somebody who does what you do better than you. Ever.
Well, to be honest, I can't. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I mean, well, that's very nice. Thank you. I mean, it's, I think I told you before, it's interesting because what I try to go for, well, first of all, in my comedy now, I'm going to be posting many more clips of just the regular stand-up because I'm doing a lot more away from the impressions. But at the same time, the impressions are going to be still central to what I do. And, I try to have, like, the writing is very important. I have to be making funny points as I'm doing the impression, but at the same time, I go for vocal and physical accuracy because I want it to sound exactly like the person, and that's what freaks people out when it does happen. So thank you.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, some impressionists, comic impressionists, they'll nail the voice, but the material's weak, or they have good material, but they're not really sounding like or they'll hit those two things, but the obvious mannerisms aren't being hit.
Right.
You hit. There was Howard Stern again. You hit.
Yeah, now you can have Andy Cohen too if you want. Thank you. Go ahead.
You hit all three, and that's it right there. So let's talk about your. You mentioned MSNBC. Let's talk about your bromance with Ari Melber.
Oh my God,
you guys set
we
a
love
date?
Ari.
Have you set a date yet? You two?
I mean,
am I invited to the
depends on
wedding?
What kind of date you're talking about? I mean, I'd love to perform. I mean, he is just you would be. He is the fucking man. I think we had a great chemistry up there, didn't we?
Oh, totally. It's amazing. It really is funny as hell, and he's really enjoying it, as you are.
Going back on in a few weeks. So,
and how did that start? How did it, why not like Joy Reid or?
Well, I actually
Jake
went
Tapper.
on Stephanie Rule. I went on Stephanie Rule. They reached out to me, and then shortly after that, Ari's reached out to me as well. And so I went on, and I don't know. I mean, I think we just had a great. Maybe it was he just felt like a Jewish guy that I know. It just like we had such a vibe, and the way he was teeing me up, like when he said, "I never thought I'd say this on my show, but can we get one more China?" And then I go, "China, okay." And he was just it was just. I don't know. It was great. I felt like I've known him for a while, and he's the coolest, and I think just a terrific host, and he does a great job. And I'm excited to go back.
Well, he's got a great sense of humor and a great comic sensibility, and he also plays around with all the rap stuff. So he's an interesting guy, and he incorporates.
Yeah, he is. Have you met him?
I haven't. We follow each other on Twitter, but I haven't met him. Do you ever get? Like when you mentioned Stephanie Rule or the MSNBC reached out, do you get politicians or celebrities reaching out or their publicists going, "Hey Matt, why don't you do my client?" Not do your client.
Why don't you do my?
No. Let me correct that.
What's Andy? These questions are very provocative.
Yeah, my client wants you to do them. No, that's not what I meant, Matt. Get
do
your
them as
24-year-old
them.
mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, they want you to do them as them. So speak like my client the entire time you're doing them.
That would be kinky.
Unfortunately for me, most of them are men, so
I
that
think
wouldn't work out.
that would, here, I'm going to give you an idea. Donald Trump fucking himself in his own voice.
Well, that's great because I mean that would be. I'll tell you what. It's just, can you pee on me? I'd love that. Pee on me. That'd be great.
Can I pee on
We
me?
call it, and I would say niet. Okay, that's great.
But anyways,
So
Can
no,
I pee
seriously,
on
do
me?
they ever reach out and say, hey, why don't you do,
I haven't really had PR people, but I have had different celebrities be like, you got to be doing me. And then it's been crazy because I've been, my following, it's been lucky to have it be increasing a lot recently, and more eyeballs on what I'm doing, and people are becoming aware of the work I'm doing and just what my brand and who I am. So it's cool to have all these different like heroes of mine and just celebrities knowing this stuff. It's wild.
does it surprise you when somebody reaches out and says, hey, why don't you do me? And you're like, really? You want me to? It's kind of a big
Listen,
ego.
when
of you.
George Santos texted me the other day and was like, you got to do me, I was like, all right, I got to
No,
think
but he
about it.
wants you to actually do him.
That's probable. Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I've noticed, like,
Oddly enough, the back room is also what George Santos's podcast would be called.
I would love. By the way, hang on a second, Matt. To my listeners, if any of you know George Santos or have a way to George Santos, besides the way we're trying to get to him, I would love to have him on.
I mean,
him and
if
his
you
alter egos, all of them.
I want you to promise me something.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever book George Santos on this podcast, I need to be on the show with you.
Done. Are you
Like,
doing it?
you
Do you do it, George Santos?
Not yet, but you do not get to interview him without me being there, okay? That would be very unfair.
Done. It's a
Okay.
deal. It's a deal. And then
Okay,
you come
good.
on and you would do him like,
I love when he goes, I'm Jewish.
yeah. Well, that should be. I mean, the things that come out of his mouth are just unbelievable. He said the other day that he left his company in 2001, but he was born in 1988. I mean, I would make him 13, right? I mean, that's just, the guy does he even think about this shit? Like, if you're going to lie, make it like even halfway credible, right?
It's actually like the lying is almost worse than Trump's. I didn't even think was possible.
Oh, totally.
Like
Trump's lying you can't necessarily prove like in 2 seconds.
Listen,
you have to.
like Trump University was a failure, but at least he actually had a Trump University.
Well, maybe Santos went to it. Santos might be
probably did.
a graduate of that.
Yeah.
No, but Santos, he'll say shit where like, all you got to do is to be like 2001 minus 1988. That makes you 13. You're full of shit. Like in 8 seconds, you can refute anything that comes out of his mouth.
Did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene in this video saying Mitch McConnell is a Democrat?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. As soon as I heard that, I said Marjorie Taylor Greene is a complete and utter bitch from Mitch. Scoobity boom boom.
Why did she say that?
Do.
What's the context?
I don't know.
That?
I think she.
And are you doing a Marjorie Taylor Greene? Can you do her?
If I did that, I'd combust.
Do
I would combust. But if you start speaking like her, you combust and you burst into flames. But I have to tell you that I think there's this other wing of the Republican Party that like they think that there's like the Romney, McConnell, like they're too normal, I guess, compared to what they are. So I don't know. I don't know why she said it. I mean, I as bad as McConnell is, like, it's crazy that all these people are even more extreme.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you think that her Jewish space lasers are capable enough of shooting down all these UFOs now?
Listen,
is it a good UFO defense
I have
system?
to be honest, which is, even if there were Jewish space lasers, I'd be kind of pissed I didn't have access to them. Like, it'd be a little annoying. Like, it'd be like if I went to, like at NYU, if I couldn't get into the library as a student. It's like, I'm a student here. Shouldn't I have access? It's like a little annoying. Like, how would I have access to those lasers? And also, why are they in space?
But isn't it interesting now that
about
we're like pondering what all these UFOs are, and like there's a little bit of a, like, I don't know about you, but there's a little part of me that's wondering, are we being invaded by aliens? And now I'm like, well, does that mean Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't crazy when she said Jewish space lasers? Because now I'm crazy? Like, is
I
that how it
mean,
comes
what are
full
the
circle?
aliens' names? Solomon? I mean, like, we're not saying that we're not saying that the aliens are Jewish, Andy. No one said that the alien was named Abraham. Okay, I mean, like, what's happening here?
I don't know.
My name is Benjamin Goldman. I'm here to invade the United States.
I'm from Pluto.
I mean, like, yeah, exactly.
So I notice every now and then you put a new impression in, a new political impression in.
Yes, I do.
My favorite that came recently was Chuck Grassley, who I think is one of the funniest old coots in Washington.
Senator Leahy. So whenever I do the Chuck Grassley, I always end it with Senator Leahy, which is from the Kavanaugh hearings. So he just gets confused and goes, "What are we doing on the back room? What's an Andy? Senator Leahy, I'm confused. Senator Leahy, we're motioning on the floor for a vote. Senator Leahy."
How the fuck is this guy? How has he been served? Like, it's astonishing.
It is astonishing. And he's
Senator
so confused. He's always
Leahy.
confused.
And by the way, that is one of the 2 impressions I do to get women my age to be sexually attracted to me at parties. It's Chuck Grassley and Mitch McConnell,
the
because
women.
nothing turns women on more than Chuck Grassley. It's like Elvis shaking his hips on the Ed Sullivan show. It has that same effect.
Haven't you seen all the young women on TikTok doing videos where they want to meet Chuck Grassley?
Oh my God. It's just something about his sex appeal. Like, you talk about Austin Butler. I mean, something about the Austin Butler, hey, and something about the Chuck Grassley, hey, like something about it just really just drives him nuts. Can you picture him putting his dentures in and just eating applesauce?
Oh, thanks. You just ruined my appetite for the next 8 days.
Yeah, that's great.
Who
You had me thinking of having sex with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So if you want to talk about ruining appetites,
Touche.
there you go.
Touche.
Yeah.
And who else is new?
Well, so Ron DeSantis is what I'm really focusing on right now. Because I really believe that he's going to have a huge moment. Okay. And he's sort of over here. And what's fascinating is he's completely copied all of the physical movements of Donald Trump. Actually, one of the head writers of the show, Family Guy, Alex Sulkin, gave me this line, which is Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis both play an accordion of hatred. Okay. They move their hands like this back and forth. Okay. It's so disgusting. We know what's happening. So I'm doing that one. Gavin Newsom, I'm focusing on as well. To me, we're on a podcast. So he sounds like Will Arnett on Smartless, mixed with Obama. It's just like, Governor Ron DeSantis, great state of Florida. I mean, he's an evil guy. I'm running for president. My slogan is "Yes, we can." You know, in California, we can do so much better than the hate and division coming out of Florida. It's just wrong. I mean, like, Newsom copied Obama in the same way that DeSantis is copying Trump. I feel like it's very interesting.
I like the impression mashup thing.
And believe me, I know. Now, when all these guys come in here and take my mannerisms, Andy, you can be sure that I know that Gavin is stealing what I do. So thank you so much.
By the way, I tell Matt and Jen, my team here, all the time that when I see you do Obama, like the second you turn your head, like it's just amazing. You become.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, what's very interesting about the Obama is that, well, there are actually about 2 different styles to his voice. Now, the first one is when he'd make a speech and his voice would get very stern and serious. He'd look ahead and go, "Tonight, more than 200 years after a former colony won the right to determine its own destiny, the task of perfecting our union moves forward. It moves forward because of you. It moves forward because you reaffirmed the spirit that has triumphed over our nation through war and depression, the belief that," okay, and that's with a speech. And then with kids, his voice gets higher pitched, like Halloween, bending down to greet a kid at the White House. He'd be like, "How are you? It is good to see you. What are you dressed as for Halloween? Oh, you're a fairy. That is so cute. Come on now. Now that is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, look, I
Like-
gotta ask you, how does a 24-year-old white Jewish kid become a
I see where this is going now.
60-year-old black man? How does that happen?
Well,
Because
nah,
that's what's happening in
half
front of my
black,
eyes right
so
now.
I got half of that, but I don't know.
Well, it just happens. I mean, how do I become a 75-year-old morbidly obese orange,
like orange. Like, I mean, how do I do any of it, man? I don't know what to tell you.
how do I become Roger the alien from American Dad? Nobody knows. Okay.
Kids, I think
I'm working on.
I think we call that
I think
talent.
I got to
Talent, man.
come back on here, Andy, because I got to work on you.
Well, yeah, we can get to that in a second, but let's, we texted over the weekend and we got some people who are like, all right, let's see if Matt can do some new stuff. I'm going to throw some
Okay.
names at you. You tell me if, you want to take a crack at it here or if you want to
Okay.
come back again.
Let's
and
do
work on
it.
But
Let's do it.
I told you when we had Michael Cohen on, right? Michael Cohen
Yeah.
was like, Matt Friend is amazing. He's the best impressionist I've ever seen. Can you do Matt
We
Cohen?
got to get together, by the way. I've actually met him twice, and I don't think he knows that I'm the same guy. I'm not sure he knows, but if he's listening, I want to do a video with him. Okay, I want to do a whole video where I'm reenacting Trump giving him some order and he refuses it. And also, I actually met Billy Bush recently too at the Golden Globes. He was there, and I was so tempted to just be like, grab him by the, but I didn't do that, obviously. But Michael Cohen, let me just hear what he sounds like. You can see me working on an impression in real time. I just got
Well,
to hear him one more time here.
We're in the lab right
Hang
now.
on.
Look at this.
We're in the lab right now. Hang on a second. I got to just hear him.
Okay, everybody at home, shush. We don't want to disturb Matt in his process. He's listening to Michael Cohen's voice. He's nodding.
I'm actually, just how quickly got up to speed, Mr. Trump. I'm actually impressed by how quickly he got up to speed. Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, I followed his orders, and frankly, the man needs to go to prison. I got to work on him. That's got to get better.
I'd
It's not
say
good.
you're off to a good start.
Yeah. Okay.
How
Go
about,
ahead. I'll get better. I'm going to
let's,
send you a video. You can send it to him. Yeah.
no, he'll like that. And it's funny you said what you
Okay.
said before, because when I asked him on the pod about who he likes as an impressionist, he said, yes, there's this young kid and blah, 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 and he's amazing. And I was like, Matt Friend? He goes, no. And he kept talking, and then I was like, Matt Friend. And he goes, no. And I was like, that's
And then he
Matt
goes-
Friend. And he goes, yeah, Matt
Yeah.
Friend. So it took him a
Yeah.
while to connect. So you're 100% right. Let's get off politics and for a second, and we'll jump back to it in a second. But, okay, how about Harry Styles? Can you do Harry Styles?
Oh my God. I was just listening to this interview with him on Zane Lowe, Apple Music podcast. It's very slow. I'm working on it just like, probably Gucci. I don't know, but when we were making the movie, I thought about all of that writing coming in for, the movie. Probably Gucci. I don't know, but I think it's like a watermelon and you squeeze it. I think like the movie.
Now, when you were clearing your throat, was that Harry clearing his throat, or was that actually Matt Friend?
I don't
having a
know,
moment.
but probably Gucci, the movie.
How about Chuck Schumer?
Not bad, right?
That is pretty damn good.
Chuck Schumer, Donald Trump clearly was in the wrong. And when you look at what Joe Biden is doing in the country, let me put these glasses on at the edge of my nose. When you look at what Joe Biden is doing, you see he's doing a great job for the country. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Hanukkah Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad Ashrei Yoshrei Beitecha Ojek Hallelujah. I mean, I feel like he's about to start chanting from the Torah every time he speaks.
That's awesome. And by the way, when you do the glasses on the note, you can also do Geppetto. So you can switch back and forth.
These are all going to get so perfect by the next time I'm on this podcast. If I'm ever on again, you are going to be freaking out.
And you'll be on again. Well, I would say if you're not too big to be on again, because
let's go.
I see
Come
your
on.
head literally expanding as we're talking today. You're gonna be huge. You'll be like Andy Ostroy podcast. What
You know
am I
what?
doing?
If Phineas is coming on here, I think I can make the time. Okay.
How about James Carville?
Oh my God! Let me just hear what he said. James Carville. James Carville. Hey, hang out a second. James Carville. Hey. Thank God you could edit things. Hang on a second. You didn't ask about Tucker, by the way. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. One of the things we've always been discussing recently is Joe Biden a lizard. That's the Tucker crazy laugh, by the way. I just did him on Stephen Colbert, actually. Tucker Carlson. With James Carville. Okay. Hang on. Ad, go away. Here we go. Okay. James Carville. I do Kevin McCarthy, too, actually. Okay.
Matt is listening to. He's working out the impression in his head right
It's
now.
political pinata. So basically, you just use him. And you see what George Sanders is doing. You see what Mitt Romney says. He don't belong in the Senate. He's a sick puppy. And I agree with George Sanders. And I did derber, and I did and I said to him, Joe Biden,
Yeah, okay. That's a horrible attempt, but I'm going to get it down.
No, you're
Get to Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. Let's see it.
Patrick Stewart? All I'll say about the Patrick Stewart is you need to just say this. Patrick Stewart, the back room with Patrick Stewart. It's very fun to be chanting as Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart.
Do you do, how about, well, you said you're working on McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy's a very interesting guy. Well, because his voice is over here, you know. So you see what Joe Biden's doing? I could never tear up a speech like Nancy Pelosi did. I could just support an insurrection to our Capitol.
Well
He's
done. Well done.
He tries to sound like a gentleman, but he's really a fucking psychopath. So
How about
you
Seth Rogen?
I need like 10 blunts before I can go into this.
Speaking of blunts, how about Elon Musk?
Working like the Twitter algorithm. I actually do Bill Gates, and I'm doing Warren Buffett now. Warren Buffett said, well, you know, it's really great. Well, it's great to be here. You know, I believe in loving what you do. And you got to tap dance to work if you love it. I came from Omaha, Nebraska, interviewed by Charlie Rose earlier. And, that was a very, very good thing. You know, Benjamin Graham told me about it, the art of the deal, the intelligent investor. That's very Bill Gates said to me. Well, it's really exciting to be here with you, Andy. Really exciting. I've been doing a lot of researching and reading on just the subject of getting more people vaccinated. And it's really great to be here. So thank you. Yeah. So those two are interesting.
Those
I
are
gotta do
awesome. How
you.
about Al Franken? Can you do an Al Franken?
Oh my God.
That was another one we got.
Yeah. I actually was just working on an Al Franken and I almost had him down. Al Franken. Hang on a second. Let me just pull him up. Before and hearing. So I didn't internalize it. I feel like one of the things with Al Franken is he can kind of sound a little drunk a little bit when he's talking. Like a word starts to slur a little bit. But I being in the Senate and serving, he has a little bit of a nasal to there as well. And serving in the Senate all those years, the least funny person, my least favorite person was, I'd have to say, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was Al Franken. I got to work on him too. He's right in the corner there with all the. He's a good Jewish guy to do right over there with Schumer, so that's fun. Yeah, I got to work on that one too.
No,
I'm gonna have all these guys down for you in a couple months.
All right. And the last one we had was Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Is that something you can do?
Yeah, this is it. This is it. I am evil. This is Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I am Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I have come to destroy your family. That's it. He sounds exactly like her.
That might be. That just
This is
might
it.
be
Let
your
me try one more
favorite
time.
impre-
Let me try one more time. The Democrats are evil. I mean, doesn't that sound exactly like
That
her?
might be your best impression. Seriously.
Thank you. Yeah.
Last time you were on here, I asked you about problem impressions. I think you mentioned Biden was a issue for you. Have you been working on Biden? Can you get Biden?
Listen, folks, you know, he's a little boring, but he's a nice guy. I mean, like, he's a great guy. And listen, folks, we got to work to restore the soul of America. We got to come together. You know, I gotta do that. I don't know. It's something about him. I got to work on that more.
My dad said, Joey.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you make of all this stuff in the news? Did you watch the State of the Union?
I did.
What'd you think?
You're asking me if I watch. I mean, when Marjorie Taylor Greene got up with her fur coat yelling liar, she's just so fucking annoying.
Mm.
But I thought Biden was strong. I was amused by McCarthy like rolling his eyes in the background. I thought it was funny that Bono was there for some reason. It was just interesting that he was there. I thought overall though, it was optimistic. He has a quality to him, like I think he can appeal to like the average American. There's a real like honesty and decency to him. I feel like, thought he did a great job.
But he's still a
given
challenge.
The fact that the fact that he's 110 years old.
Mm-hmm. Don't be an ageist.
Yeah.
Although at 24, that just comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Well,
like Joe Biden must literally seem like he's 124 to you.
Well, he also is like, how old is he? 80?
He's
84?
Almost 80.
You know what? Like, if you have to be a certain, it is interesting how there's a certain minimum age to qualify for the presidency, but you could also be Chuck Grassley and serve it. Like, why do you why could you have to be 35 to become the president, but you can be 135 and be the president? That doesn't even make sense.
That's a good point. I've never heard that before. And
if you're talking about ageism, right. I mean, I can't even run. Okay.
Right.
For over a decade, I couldn't be the president.
You can't run. And in another way, Chuck Grassley can't run. Right. Boom. I'm still trying to get through your Michael Cohen. That was so good.
Was it really? And Mr. Trump?
I'm going to get him He's going to love that. He is going to love that.
I'm going to send you a better video after this, like later this afternoon, of me doing a better Michael Cohen.
All right. And the thing you want to do, I want to direct and produce that video that you want to do with him, because I could see it in my head.
That'd be fun.
I could see it in my head.
That'd be fun.
Anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, I would like to plug George Santos, just the great work he's doing.
Easy.
Thank you for your service, George. No, you can just follow me on Instagram at the Matt Friend, TheMattFriend. Instagram. I'm also on Snap, and TikTok and Twitter, Matt Friend. But say hey on Instagram at the Matt Friend. That's where all my stand-up shows are, the dates and everything. And thanks for having me, Andy.
Yeah. Are you on Truth Social?
And Parler.
And
yeah. Yeah.
Matt, you've been very generous with your time. This is a lot of fun. You're an incredibly talented young lad. And it's been fun. It's fun watching your career move forward and upward.
Thank you. You've been very supportive and kind. And thank you for having me on again, and for coming to my show a few months ago. And I hope let's grab a coffee soon in person.
Absolutely. And work on that Andy Ostroy impression.
I know. I will.
You'd think Joe Biden's boring. You'll get a special cookie if you can do me. You can't do me. That's the challenge. You can't. There's no way you can do me. My voice is like I'm invisible.
I'm sure. You know who could though? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sure she's available.
She can do me, and I can do her.
Speaking of George Carville, speaking of James Carville, you guys would have kind of a Carville marriage if that ever happened.
We had Carville on. He was great. All right,
yeah,
Matt,
I know.
Come back again soon. Be well.
Thank you.
That's episode 43. If you like what you've been hearing, and even if you don't, let us know. We appreciate the feedback. You can leave us a message at 845-307-7446. Email us at backroomandy@gmail.com or tweet to me at Andy Ostroy. And when you listen, please take a quick moment to rate and review. Those things are very helpful. I want to thank my co-producer, engineer, and editor, Maddie Rosenberg, associate producer, Jen Hammoud, Cricket Langell for our artwork, Andy Hollander for our kick-ass music, Patricia Wind and the Epicurean for the Backroom Studio, and a big thank you again to our very funny, very talented guest, Matt Friend. So keep your eyes on Washington, Hollywood, and your own backyards, and we hope you'll join us again next time. Have a great week.